Joining us on the line now is Lanny Davis, former Clinton White House counsel and author of Crisis Tales. First thing, right off the bat, I got to tell you, we're going to run this clip a little bit later, but Bill Clinton says, your former boss says, he wouldn't be surprised if aliens exist.
No, neither would I. I've always believed in men on Mars. In fact, that's why I listen to WMAL.
See, all right, I'll let that one go. Hey, listen, the president of the United States, the current president of the United States, making a big deal about how they met their enrollment numbers, and he said to the American people that there are now 7.1 million people out there who have insurance. You know what, Lanny? There is no way on God's green earth that is an accurate statement. Do you think that the White House, the Obama White House, is overselling their accomplishments with Obamacare? Because I don't think anybody would agree with that statement that now we have 7.1 million people who have insurance. There may have been 7.1 million people who interacted with the website, but not all of them have insurance.
Well, not all of them have gotten final clearance from their insurance companies. I agree, but it's still a great achievement. If one person who has been uninsured and relying on emergency rooms to take care of their children gets insurance, that's a good thing. We know that we're in the millions. And it does appear in the month of March there was a surge and an awakening by people who are entitled to get health insurance for the very first time in their lives. So that's the whole purpose. It's the reason why I've supported this. There's been a lot of mess-ups and a lot of rollout problems, but I think the president is entitled to be proud that.
Well, hold on a minute, Lanny.
A far way here.
Out of the 7 million, some of the best estimates that I've seen, and there are no completely accurate estimates on this, roughly 2 million, a little more than 2 million of those were people who were previously uninsured. That means that the rest of the people who came there lost their insurance or something happened to their insurance and they had to seek out new insurance. I'm wondering, for the sake of the 2 million people who were previously uninsured who are now insured, did we need to go through all of this turmoil? Did we need to set up the apple cart completely over and put everybody's health insurance into turmoil?
Well, that's a very good question. The question is whether we need to do a readjustment here and try to find a way to tighten this thing up. And we did make a mistake in promising that people wouldn't lose their policies. I think that was a serious but honest mistake. But I think we ought to celebrate that even if it's 2 million, that's 2 million people who don't have to wake up in the morning worrying about their families having no health insurance. So it's going to take a while. It's going to take. We overpromised, and I'm saying we, people blame Barack Obama. Every Democrat, including myself, who believed in this thing, underestimated the difficulty of getting it done. And I do think we have to take another look at how we adjust and change this. But I still strongly believe the American people don't want to worry about health insurance, don't want to have access to health care because of their income, and they do want their children to be taken care of rather than sitting in emergency rooms, which is we're all paying for health insurance by people going to public hospitals, and this is a much better way with private insurance companies taking the responsibility.
Lanny, yesterday the Supreme Court rendered a decision in the McCutcheon versus Federal Election Commission decision, and they said that the ban on aggregate campaign donations was unconstitutional. In other words, before you were limited to the total dollar amount you could donate, so maybe you could only donate to maybe 15 or 20 candidates at the maximum. Now you can donate to as many candidates as you want. You love our Constitution and freedom of speech and freedom of assembly and getting your voice heard. You embrace this, right?
I really am concerned. I do worry about First Amendment infringements, but some time ago we made a distinction between spending money on elections versus spending money on buying things on the Internet. Elections affect public policy. It's subject to regulation, and I think putting campaign limitations is not an infringement of the First Amendment. Now, I'm wrong by one vote. It's 5-4, so this is a very close call. Every time there's been a decision about First Amendment issues and campaign expenditures, it's been a close call. So this is a divided Supreme Court, and of course you have to accept the vote of the majority, but it's going to have a terrible effect. And I think on politics, both sides, I think, are starting to worry about the impact of money. And we need to do something, at least require full disclosure of all campaign contributions, whether they're super PACs, PACs, or mini PACs. What is the argument against full disclosure? People aren't willing to stand up and be counted and let their money be transparent and let people know about it. then I think there's a problem.
No, I agree with you on full disclosure. I think that that's a good idea, and in this day and age, we should be able to do that pretty easily.
Right.
Although, listen, all of the McCain-Feingold rules that are now starting to get struck down one by one, like Citizens United and McCutcheon yesterday, those were all put in place to stop individuals or corporations, but the unions have had pretty free reign on their campaign activities, haven't they?
Well, I'm across the board on this. The same rules should apply to unions as apply to corporations. I'm against both being able to contribute for a variety of reasons. And again, this is a close legal call from a public policy standpoint. Everyone's worried about the impact of money on the left and the right, and no politician is going to vote this change unless people require them to, because they're cutting off money that they need to get reelected. And it's almost too much to ask a politician to act against their self-interest. American people have to really force this issue, probably state by state.
All right, so the District of Columbia will have a new mayor. Not clear exactly who that mayor will be, but it won't be Mayor Gray. Any thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's kind of sad that the mayor never took the platform, took the microphone as long ago as 3 or 4 years ago. I certainly wanted him to just speak the truth and let people know exactly what the situation was. He was under the advice of a lawyer that thought that he would be better off legally if he didn't do that. Then the same lawyer announces that he's going to be indicted. And then he probably decided he was better off politically not to speak up, and we saw the result. I think the lesson here is that you have to speak the truth. If you've done something wrong, you have to fess up. You can't hide. When you hide, voters hold you accountable. I think what happened to Mayor Gray is he's never been convicted. He still hasn't been indicted. It's all accusations. But the fact that he was never willing to talk, that he hid, and he said no comment other than calling people liars, I think hurt him in the end of the final analysis.
And you're right about that, because there are really two courts. And people don't understand this. There's the court of law, which you got to be worried about, and then there's the court of public opinion.
Yeah.
If you win in the court of law but lose in the court of opinion, you still lose.
Well, I've always been astonished by lawyers that think that no comment and winning in a courtroom is divorced from winning in the court of public opinion. That might work for private citizens. It doesn't work for people in public life. And as I've learned in my role as a crisis manager, it doesn't even work for private citizens. Sooner or later, the truth is going to come out. And unfortunately, the legal profession operates that they don't want to take the slightest risk, especially if it's about a reputation and a political career to be saved. It's probably worth taking a risk. And if a man is guilty and is worried about being guilty, then of course he can be silent, but he shouldn't be in office.
All right. Lanny Davis, always a pleasure. Thank you.